I love it. Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Or good evening, afternoon, whenever you're watching this. But today we are doing a deep dive further into the 12 powers. The 12 powers, they are the gifts, the strengths, the talents that we came into this life with. We don't have to do anything special to use these powers except wake up to them. That's all we got to do is wake up to them, have awareness of them, say yes to them, right? And so today I will be talking about the power of zeal. Zeal. I have to say, I feel like I had heard of this word when I was a little girl. Like I thought maybe it was a word like only my grandma would use. But just when I was little, I think it felt like an old fashioned word. And so when I came to Unity back in 2000, and our minister, Reverend Joanne Bacon, was talking about the 12 powers, and she's talking about zeal. So then I'm like, okay, it's a granny word and a unity word. But actually, it is the word zeal just means a zest for living, right? It is excitement and enthusiasm. Charles Fillmore said that a person without zeal is like an engine without steam. So that enthusiasm, that excitement, it's what gets us in motion. But it's more than just being excited. Zeal is a quality of the all, right? A quality of source that it is urging all of life to express. And it urges us to go forward in the creation of this life. Charles Fillmore also said, zeal is the great universal force that impels humankind to spring forward in a field of endeavor and accomplish the seemingly miraculous. Okay, that's how we accomplish the seemingly miraculous. It's zeal. Zeal helps us do that. So, what happens is that we experience a desire, an idea, or an inspiration makes its way into our imagination. And it creates enthusiasm because zeal comes along with inspiration. That way the inspiration has a chance of being made manifest in our life. There's a chance it'll be expressed. I don't know about you, but I've actually had ideas that I was excited about and then I just forgot about them and never did anything with them. Can you imagine if we had an idea we were not enthusiastic about at all? Like it wouldn't get done, right? We wouldn't bother. So the zeal is what helps us to get excited so that we have the motivation so that when we look at this new thing we're being called to do, we we it's going to take effort. It's going to take some activity on our part to do this new thing. And so zeal is what gives us the feeling to say challenge accepted. Yeah, we it gives us the motivation. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to do that. So zeal is not just a quality of the divine. Um, I'm sorry, it's not just excitement, it's a quality of the divine. On a cosmic level, it's constant creation. It is constant movement forward. Always movement forward. And I think about the light shining off the sun, it's always moving forward. That's why the sun is like such a great metaphor for God and for the light, because light is always moving forward. So zeal is always this constant motion forward, movement forward. On our solar system, you can see it's the constant movement and the equilibrium between all the planets. Even on this planet, zeal is contained within the constant cycle of life. Everything is moving, everything is going forward. Now, zeal in our own life, it needs us to participate with it. So what happens is zeal, this is how zeal would work through our 12 powers, okay, for the first of the 12 powers, our filter, right? I love that idea of creating the 12 powers as our filter that we run everything through first. So first of all, we receive an idea or an inspiration. It goes into our imagination. Okay, there it feels good, right? It's in our imagination. So then that's when we have to ask the question, can I do this? When we might say no, right? Because we're not choosing from faith. So we might say no, and we just forget about it. But see, we're in the filter of our 12 powers right now. Can I do it? Yes, I can. Because faith, I have faith in what it is that works through me, for me, as me. I have faith in what put me on the planet right here, right now. And I have faith in myself that I will let myself be guided. I will trust in just taking one step at a time, right? So I have faith. So then what happens is then we start focusing on that we're enthusiastic about. Not the reasons why, not all of our excuses, because we could all come up with 10 excuses why we can't do something we really want to do. So this is where we're using the powers of strength and power to keep ourselves focused on what we're excited about. And then there's the power of love. Now, see, love is big cosmic love. It is the urge of spirit or source to keep expressing itself through us. If we receive an inspiration, it wants to be created. It shows us because it's like, hey, this person's listening. Let's go, right? So it wants to be created. So this is the power of love. It wants to be created in our life. And then wisdom and understanding. Wisdom and understanding so we don't get crazy. All right. Sometimes when we get excited about something, we can, I don't know about all of you, but I've gone off the deep end. Okay. And it hasn't worked out so good because I don't have wisdom and understanding. All right. Then we're using our will and order, the power of will and order. We keep choosing toward faith. This is a choice we actually are making all the time. Okay. Do I have faith in what it is that works through me? Yes. Yes, I do. So we have to keep choosing toward faith, right? And we do it the right way. This is the order. There's a way to do this, and it's one step at a time. It's focusing on what we want to create and constantly choosing from faith, right? And not needing to see the entire staircase, right? We just take the first step in faith. Okay, so there we go. There we go through our filter of, well, at least the first 9 powers, the 12 powers. See, if there's no momentum in our life, there's no movement in our life. You know, when you get a car rolling, I remember when I was in high school, I was driving this little Datsun and the starter or something went out, and me and my girlfriend would have to push it, and then I'd jump in the car and I'd pop the clutch, right? It was so much easier to do that if we could get the car moving. Like once the car was moving, we could really push it and get it moving. But like getting it backed out of the parking place and then having to push it forward, oh my gosh, it was so hard. See, no momentum, no movement. Now, the thing about zeal and excitement and enthusiasm, it's meant to be part of our entire life, like of every day. But often people will think, oh, the zeal, the excitement, I'll save that for the big stuff. But otherwise, there's lots of boring stuff I got to handle day to day, right? But zeal is not just about reworking our entire life. It doesn't have to be a crazy big goal. It doesn't have to be a goal that changes the world, right? It's just about doing new things in our own lives so we can have enthusiasm about starting a garden, joining a club, learning another language, learning to play an instrument. I mean, all of this, like, I get really excited every year around the fall, this time of year, but when it starts actually cooling down and I can hold the big pile of yarn on my lap and knit. Like, I love that. I get excited about that. And it's just knitting. Like, it's not like a big crazy deal. So learn essential oils. That can be exciting, right? Or start a blog. Doesn't have to be huge, but zeal's there for us for every part of our life. These new experiences are what keep us from stagnating. These new experiences are what keep our life in motion, going forward all the time. It keeps life flowing through our body, right? We call forth zeal. It comes through us first. It comes through our body first, and then we move it into our life. So without zeal, we are that engine. Without the steam, life becomes dull. Life can become disappointing. Zeal's command is go forward. Go forward. The time is now. The time is go. That's zeal. Now, there are two ways that we express zeal. It's meant to be expressed through us first. We do the work within us first, and then we send it out into our life. But we can get what's called being overzealous or even a zealot. In fact, I think that's why I first heard the word zeal. I associated it with zealot, and I thought it was a biblical word. That's what I thought. Um, what happens when we become overzealous is that we learn something, and we know that what we know, like we want everybody to know it, so it'll change their lives, because then we can feel really good about ourselves because we changed, we helped everybody change their life. When I got into holistic healing back in the early 90s, then in 2000 I found Unity Church, and then I started taking in these principles, but I wasn't yet understanding them. I wasn't using wisdom. I wasn't putting them all together. I was just collecting a bunch of information that I didn't really know what to do with. But I can remember one day, um, it was after our Course in Miracles group on Saturday mornings, and I started talking with this one lady, and I was going to tell her what she needed to know to feel better. And I remember taking a step toward her. She took a step back from me. That's how in her space I got. And she took that step back. I took another step forward, and she took another step back. That's when I realized, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm stalking this poor woman. She's going to be afraid of me every time I show up here. So we can get overzealous. And what happens is we're pushing things on other people, but we're not really doing the work here. So we can end up driving people away. Yeah, right. Zeal, we do it through us first. We do it through us first. We can end up burning out too if we're just really overzealous out here. So we've got to fill the well. We practice zeal here first. We put it all to work because we don't want to be just pushing it all outwards, right? We're changing what's here first. See, we're not in charge of all that out there. We're not in charge of fixing all that out there. We're in charge of all this right here, baby. All this. This is our work, right? This is our thing that we're doing in this lifetime. So we're doing it all right here. And we learn to do it here. And this is when we have the greatest amount of good to share with the world. This is when we're embodying resilience and we're a soul with stamina. It's through here then that we are expressing our divine nature. So we're doing it all through here first. Then we're making our choices based on love. And choices based on love are just choices that honor the divine in all of us. That's when we become the greatest influence on other people, when we're doing the work here, because that's how we get to be the light. That's how we get to share the light. That's how we get to expand the light, right? It's always the work that we are doing here in ourselves. It's how we transform. It's how we transcend. It's how we transfigure. Remember, that's from last week. Transfiguring, take something and make it more beautiful, right? So that's how we do the work, is we do the work here, and that's how we have influence in this world. That's how we are sharing with this world. Now, the center for zeal in our body is the base of the brain, right back there. And the color is green. I think a dark green even. The disciple that represents zeal is Simon the Zealot, not Simon Peter, the other Simon, Simon the Zealot. Simon the Zealot was a more obscure disciple. They don't really know a lot about him, other than he was for sure one of the 12 disciples. They think he was called Simon the Zealot because he used to be part of a sect that was very zealous in nature, but they were also very rebellious. They might have even had tendencies toward violence. But I don't know, maybe he was just really excited about the teachings that Jesus was sharing. So maybe that's why they called him Simon the Zealot. Now, the Harry Potter character that I chose to represent zeal, at first I was going to choose Dobby, because Dobby is very zealous. He's a little overzealous, though. Dobby does things without understanding, without wisdom. He's just excited. And he actually, because of his overzealousness in trying to save Harry Potter several times, he almost killed Harry Potter, and one time injured him pretty badly because he was overzealous. So the character that I chose, and you're going to be like, what? But yeah, just wait till you hear why. I chose Luna Lovegood. Luna Lovegood. She was called the anti Hermione because Hermione, who represents understanding in our 12 powers, Hermione examines everything, right? Hermione can put 10 puzzles together at one time. Luna Lovegood, on the other hand, and I'm going to pull from another story, Alice in Wonderland. Maybe it was Through the Looking Glass. But you know how the White Queen said, sometimes I believe as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast? This is Luna Lovegood, believing 6 impossible things even before breakfast. Luna was very eccentric. She had her own like flights of fancy. She marched to the beat of her own drum. She did some kind of strange things, like she rode side saddle, and she dressed really kind of strange. And she would walk around and like just want to eat her pudding, and she seemed just really really weird. She was also very very quiet and thoughtful. Now when you think about Zeal, you don't think about quiet and thoughtful usually, right? You think of Zeal as somebody who's really excited. But see, Luna was excited, but it came across more as being engaged with life. Luna never denied her self expression, her authentic self expression. Luna was a quiet, thoughtful person, but she was not complacent. She was not somebody who got bored. Luna stayed curious and she stayed open minded, and she was always authentic and real to herself, even when she was like peer pressure. Peer pressure, we all know what that feels like. And most of the students at Hogwarts thought she was weird, and they would call her Luna Lovegood. No, Loony. They called her Loony Lovegood. So she didn't cave into that, though. She didn't let that affect her, right? Her self acceptance came from here, okay, not from everybody out there. So for Luna, life was never dull. It was never pointless. She didn't get bored. Now, Zeal is what keeps life from getting boring. Zeal is what keeps our life from feeling pointless. You know what? If we get bored, that's all on us. That's all on us. We have the opportunity right now to do something different. Zeal comes through with every single idea we have, and we have an abundance of zeal. It's there waiting, it's overflowing, it's a hose that's constantly turned on. Zeal is saying, hey, let's go, put me to work, right? Zeal keeps us curious. Zeal keeps us open minded. Zeal keeps us living our life and looking at life and asking, like, what next? And I don't mean like what next, like, oh my god, it's 2020, right? Let's not be hard on 2020. Right? I don't think 2020 asked for all this. 2020 is like, hey, let's just do it. Let's just keep choosing. Let's just keep moving forward, right? So we're not going to be hard on 2020. With Zeal, though, what we're doing is we're looking around and saying, what amazing thing can happen next? What is the next miracle that we can call forth? What's the next solution we could move towards? Right? What is the next thing we could do to make life right here in my life, in our community, on our planet? What's that next thing we could do to just make it a little better? Okay, that's Zeal. That is Zeal. Luna believed in Harry Potter when he said that Voldemort had returned. See, we don't get to meet Luna Lovegood until book 5, right? It's so sad because she's such a great character, but she did. She believed Harry when he said Voldemort was back. Now, only a few of Harry's friends believed him. And I mean, you can't really blame them. It was a scary thing to think about Voldemort being back. They didn't want to believe it. It was something that was too scary. And with the quality of zeal, we don't have to be afraid. Now, some things like of some things, of course, we're going to feel afraid to like our friends and acquaintances and people we know who have to evacuate in this fire. There's probably an element of fear involved in that right now. But overall, because we are designed to thrive, we are designed to be able to move into solution mode. We can call forth zeal at any time. Now, zeal, it doesn't mean we're going to suddenly just be happy, right? But zeal is what keeps us moving forward. So we don't have to be cheerful. Somebody doesn't have to be cheerful about evacuating their house right now, right? But they can still just be filled with that forward momentum. Because no matter what, there's a divine program within us that allows us to always keep moving forward all the time. It is with our faith calls forth zeal, and that's how we clear the obstacles, right? So our choice to choose from faith, our choice to say, yes, I have faith in what it is that works through me, for me, as me. I have faith in what put me on this planet right here, right now. I have faith in that, and I have faith in myself because I am willing and I am open to working with all that. I am willing to accept that. I'm willing to listen to intuitive guidance. I'm willing to ask for help when I need help, right? So we keep moving forward. We keep moving forward, and zeal is getting us to do that. The time is go. Luna Lovegood was not afraid to see the truth. She was not afraid to admit that Voldemort had returned. She was not afraid to talk about or to consider what that could mean to everybody, because she did understand that everything would get figured out, right? A plan would evolve. She also was able to see through this magic disguise that Harry put on in the last book. He took a potion that completely transformed his appearance. So he was actually looked just like another person. Luna goes walking right by him though and says, "Hello, Harry." She saw right through the disguise. Zeal is what helps us to see through things. Zeal is what helps us to act in spite of limiting conditions that we may find ourselves in. We don't get caught up in the spell that this limiting condition can trick us, can control us, can manipulate us, can keep us down. Zeal helps us to understand it is just a condition. It's the source within us that guides us forward. And even in the condition, sources within the condition, sources under it, above it, all around it, vibrating all through it. Source is everywhere present. This is one of the first unity principle. God is all things. Everything that's ever been, everything that's yet to be. If we try to consider that God's not present in a forest fire or a hurricane, well, that would be to limit God. So God is everywhere present, which means God can be called forth through all things. Luna Lovegood, toward the end of the last of the books, she came to Harry's aid in what might have been one of the most dire moments that he experienced. Harry had to use what's called the Patronus charm. The Patronus charm is a charm. You have to tune within. You have to be able to call forth a really, really happy memory. Now, this means using the 12 powers of strength and power and will to be able to stop focusing on what's scaring you out here. Harry was focused on the dark forces out here. Voldemort and his Death Eaters were now attacking Hogwarts, right? The Dementors that suck the love and joy out of everything were all over the place. Harry had to be able to utilize those powers, and he couldn't. He could not call forth that Patronus. Luna Lovegood comes up to him. She reminds him that he is not alone. They are all still there, and that he can do this. And she helps him to call forth his own happy memories And his Patronus is like the most brilliant Patronus that he ever cast, just about. You know, in that book, I read that part like 3 times and bawled. It was so beautiful, the support that she gave. This is what Zeal does for us. Zeal is our inner Luna Lovegood, supporting us, right? You can do this. You can do this. Our inspiration comes into our imagination, right? Inspiration always brings along zeal. We have a constant stream of zeal, which is an inner urge for progress. You know, I talk about our little saboteur, you know, sitting over here on our shoulder, our little me. Well, imagine Luna Lovegood, Zeal, sitting here on the other shoulder. Okay, big old wings. Okay, that's where Zeal's sitting right there. Zeal is present with us all the time, available all the time. It stays with us through our activity, through our choices, through what we do next, no matter the conditions that we may be looking at, no matter what we might be looking at and judging as the current dark forces in our own life. So zeal is energy in motion. Zeal is the energy that is the forerunner of every effect. That means everything that you can see. That's all that you can see. Zeal participated in it being right there, right now. Zeal participated in every expression of good that you can think of that has happened in this world up to this point. And Zeal will participate in every expression of good that's on its way right now and on its way for tomorrow. It's an ever present energy. It arrives with our inspiration. It fuels our forward motion. It's the light that lights the way. Zeal is what's whispering in our ear. The time is go. Do it now. Let's go. Everything you need, you got it. It's right there, babe. You have got it. You were divinely designed to do this. So let's do it. Let's do it together. And that is how we create heaven on earth. That is how we do that. So until next time, remember, you are the activity of spirit in a body. You are the heart and you are the hands of spirit in this world. You are a soul designed to do all of this stuff, all of it. You're a soul designed for growth and goodness and expansion. And everything you do, you are blessed.